This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
I mean, you can see right now, without LeBron, Lakers are struggling.
Let me tell you about a team I hate, all right? I know the Dallas Cowboy fan is here, so I had to make sure he knew how much I hate this team.
I'm ready.
I've often said that the people who run baseball, they try very hard to ruin it.
I'm from Brooklyn. I don't have a problem saying it to his face. Oh, I'm from Brooklyn. Hey, get any?
How you doing today? It's midweek, and we're live on the Roku channel, YouTube, and every other platform you could think of. This is the National Streaming Sports Show. Good evening. I'm Mac, your host, with James Martin from the guys and from All Things Football, Prim and Proper, whatever title they want to go under, because they use a bunch of titles just to confuse me. And I have my great friend that hasn't been on with me.
Now he's buttering me up.
my great friend, a guy that I haven't seen in a while. It's been too long. How you doing, Captain Jack? Glad to see you on the show with us tonight.
I'm great. And for those that were not there in pregame, he was just saying, I haven't seen you in a while. I said, yeah, because you don't invite me. You don't like me. So I just want to make sure that everybody's caught up, so that people know how much full of crap. Wait, let me make sure what that guy is, but he made up for it, because then he has those really kicking tunes that's coming in. You got the don't do the body, it's like
exactly. But I saw you. Hey, I saw you dancing, Captain Jack. So you're making fun of it, but I saw you dancing back there. In fact, you just sat down before I put us back on the air. So anyway, folks, we got a lot to talk about tonight, as we always do on Northeast Streaming Sports. As you see, I got the ticker underneath with a lot of big news. And we will get to the Raiders, Captain. I promise tonight we're going to talk a little Raiders with you. But we're going to start with the free agency first. Let's put it this way. It was a good move, I think, on Dallas's part. I think Klay Thompson going to the Mavericks for a 3-year, $50 million contract made him a starter. I don't think any other team that was involved in there, I think he would have been coming off the bench. I really believe that if there was a really good team, he got a really good team. He had a championship in the championship this year, and he may be one of the starting guards in the backcourt with Kyrie Irving. So I think Klay Thompson, even though they left Golden State after 13 years, a few titles, they're retiring his number, the whole 9 yards. But I think, and I'll let you go first, Captain, so you can't say that I'm ignoring you, because I know you will do that if I talk to somebody else first. I want to get your thoughts on this. Don't you think this was a good move by Klay Thompson?
Well, actually, if I would have known you were going to lead with that, I would have been out here with my Nowitzki jersey that I bought while I was traveling across the country. And I'm not lying. I will actually turn off my camera in a little bit and to show you that I actually have such a thing on a break, because you're saying that guy is full of crap. No, I was traveling across the country for like 2 months, east to west, west to east. I stopped by Dallas twice to see the Mavericks play basketball with my buddy who had some really, really great tickets. And, I didn't have a Doncic jersey, because I said, no, I want somebody that I can, identify with. Great team, but I'm going to buy a Dirk Nowitzki jersey, and it's fantastic. I'll go get it in a little bit. I'll turn my camera off. Well, a little side note, by the way, Blackman, who is also another former Dallas Maverick, Rolando Blackman, when I was buying the jersey, I asked the lady, I said, hey, this is a great jersey. She goes, yeah, Rolando comes in here and asks us all the time, hey, where's my jersey? Because he should have his jersey there. Him and Mark Aguirre are the people that should have their jerseys up there in the staff for Dallas, and they have the great old colors as well. But I know. Hey, by the way, James, this is a Captain Jack story. I start on the highway. I go from the interstate to the state road, to the county road, to the side road, to the rutted roads, and I'll get back to the highway eventually. Just so you're caught up to date. Back to Dallas. Great basketball team, but see, Mac, you're saying that you're going to have him play in the backcourt.
Yes.
Were you going to play Luka then? So you're going to say you're going to have him play above Luka, so you have Kyrie and him in the backcourt at the same time. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a basketball aficionado, but couldn't he be like a small forward? And this way, you guys got all of those guys at the same time playing. You got him playing with Luka, with Kyrie. Then when you want to give one of those guys a blow, then you go give him for that second guard spot. That's how I would do it. But I'm not Jason Kidd. So
no, you're
that's
not. No, you're not. You're definitely not Jason Kidd. I will agree with you there. What I'm saying, and maybe James agrees with me, maybe he doesn't. Luka, of course, is going to handle the ball. There's no doubt about that. I know that's going to happen. But Kyrie Irving is mainly their point guard. I mean, he makes a lot of assists as a title. That's his title. I think Klay Thompson with his injury can't drive to the basket like he used to, right? He had that bad injury, and he hasn't been the same since. But he still is great at let's put it this way. He's very good at three-point shooting, something Dallas didn't have when they went up and played the Celtics. They shut him down. And Kyrie was shut down. There was no other option available, really. They had a couple guys underneath, but really nothing that was threatening him. I think Klay Thompson becomes the shooting guard, and that starting five. And that makes them – Kyrie can take it to the hoop or shoot from the outside. Luka can do the same. But you definitely got a presence, another outside shooter that might be able to either begin a run or stop a run. What do you think, James?
I think he makes good sense going to Dallas, but even better sense had he gone to the Lakers. And I think what was supposed to happen was him going to – even his father tried to recruit him to go there. What was supposed to happen was a 3-team trade and get rid of D'Angelo Russell, and he takes his spot. And he would be a guard that averaged last season 17 points a game and 39% at 3-point. I mean, I know he was a lot better than that before, but most guys in the league can't shoot 39% for 3-point. So he'd still be a serviceable guy, and he would have been better off with a guy like LeBron passing him the ball as a wing. I think LeBron is a much better assist man or playmaker to get the ball to him than Luka, or because Luka hangs on to the ball a lot longer than a LeBron James would, and so does Kyrie Irving. Both those guys are shooters. Luka's a playmaker, don't get me wrong, but he holds on to the ball a lot longer. I think he would have been better suited with the Lakers, especially being at home. That's where his dad played. His dad, like I said, his dad tried to recruit him there. I think he wanted to go there, but the reason he's there, he's going to probably make more money in Dallas because there's no state tax. The money was roughly about clearly the same. I think he's probably going to make a little more money in Dallas.
Well, let me address that. I think Klay Thompson to the Lakers is just another old guy that's very good. And, he's like Captain Jack. Captain Jack's very good at what he does, but he's kind of old, right? So
I love that analogy too.
I mean, let's be honest. D'Angelo Russell is a lot younger, and he's got a lot more upside. Klay Thompson's in the twilight of his years, and I think bringing him over wouldn't have really helped the Lakers that much. It wouldn't have made the Lakers, James, a championship team. Far from it. So I don't think that would have been a great move.
I agree with that.
Okay. So I think he is on a championship team now. He is on a championship team now, and I don't think they'll make it back to the championship captain again next year. I think there's too many good teams, but it gives them that outside shooting that they missed during the playoffs because Kyrie was terrible.
No, I tell you, he every game. Oh, let's put it this way. By the way, if the Mavericks want to win a championship next year, they need to fly me to Dallas for every game that they played, because every game that I saw live and even on TV until the finals, by the way, every game I saw, they won. So I put it to you. I know Mark Cuban's not the owner of the Mavs anymore, but I think he can hook a brother up. Have me come out to every Dallas game, except when the Raiders are playing. But have me come out to every Dallas game. I'll wear my Nowitzki. You think I'm lying about that? I'm gonna shut the camera off a little bit. I'm gonna get my Nowitzki jersey. Have them come out because they will win a championship. They will win a championship. They were that close this year. And I agree with, I can't remember which sports commentator said it, that Luka needs to, actually play some defense and stop belly aching. That was true. Because he has a bad crybaby complex. He's in LeBron. He's the Eastern European version of LeBron James. Okay, he needs to learn how to not cry, to play the game, and let his game take care of itself. So I think that Dallas can do that. Obviously the West is a lot better than the East. The East is like the Celtics plus who is going to be the schmoes that they have to play. And by the way, can't stand Boston, James. I am a Philly guy from birth, okay? I'm a Philly guy from birth. Can't stand Boston. Can't stand Boston. So for them to get that green, although I do got a green jersey. I had to buy it for St. Patrick's Day because I had to wear something. So I bought it. Was on the discount rack. I think I paid like $10 for it, but it's a good thing. But can't stand Boston, and to see them hoist another trophy. I'm glad it was 20-something years that they had to wait, because I want it to be another. I don't want them to win another title while I'm alive. And as Mac alluded to, I'm just another old guy. So hopefully by the time that happens, I will be in the ground because I don't want to see them. I don't want to see them.
If it happens, we'll dig you up and we'll drape you in the Boston banner, and we'll put you back in the ground. And anyway, so you mentioned the Lakers, James, and so did you mention LeBron. Bronny James, one of the few players in basketball history, gets a guaranteed contract as a second-round draft choice. And J.J. Redick said, we didn't give him nothing. He earned it. That was his 4.8 average scoring last year with his 2.8 rebounds. And LeBron James, who opted out, told every team, he said it publicly, I will play for the minimum salary if I can play with my son. Well, he opts out. He's no longer a Laker, and he gets a 2-year, $102 million max contract. So there's a bunch of lying going over there in Los Angeles. First, about Bronny James earning that guaranteed contract, and second, about LeBron James not taking the league minimum. So what are your thoughts on that, James?
Well, I disagree with J.J. Redick about earning the $8 million contract. Clearly, there's some high-level influence by someone named LeBron James to get his son that contract, and his agent, and Paul. So, it is what it is. Nepotism happens all the time. He got his son to play. It is what it is. We'll see how that pans out. He's got talent, but I don't know if he's second-round talent worthy. He apparently, looking at you can laugh. I agree. He's not second-round talent worthy. He should have been a free agent. But it's what happened. Now, in regards to LeBron James taking a pay cut, I think you got it mixed up a little bit. He was going to take a pay cut in order for him to get a super-level star or mid-level star to come in and play.
No. I'm not mixing it up, Captain. I heard him say it loud and clear that if another team drafted Bronny, he would go there for league minimum, which is about $500,000. And he opted out of Lakers. He was no longer a Laker, and he turns around and signs a $2 million max $102 million contract.
But LeBron has always opted out.
Does he need any more money, really? It's kind of like when that person who shall not be named, James, by the way, I live in Tampa, in case you didn't know, that person who shall not be named, whose initials are TB, said, I'll just take a minimum contract because at the time I got my wife who's making like 5-6 times what my amount is. Okay. he can do that. LeBron James doesn't need a contract because I think that he makes enough money in the interest payments of what they're paying for him to do other things. He doesn't need that other contract. He doesn't need it. And he can just say, see how much of a great guy I was because I took a $2 million. First off, he's full of crap. And by the way,
Right.
Mac, you'll notice I am keeping my very, very bad sailor mouth in check. James, that's another thing you don't know. It's every other word usually begins with foxtrot. And that's not a dance, that's saying. But the thing is that, yeah, he didn't need the money. Okay, because then we'd be saying, just be the money, but we ain't doing that. He just wanted to play with his son. It was going to happen. And so good for him. But while we're on the subject of LeBron James, when is the guy going to retire? Really? When is he going to retire?
Let me say
James.
this.
For that.
He was offered 3 years. He said, no, I'll take 2. So that kind of tells me his window is in 1 to 2 years. So he's probably going to retire in 2 years. So, but I'm going back. LeBron, I'm telling you, I listened to some guy on ESPN, Wojnarowski specifically. He said the reason why he was going to take a pay cut is to get a guy like
yes, I heard that.
Klay Thompson in. But Klay Thompson, it fell through. So he's like, well, if we're not getting anybody, I'm going to take my money.
I did hear that, but I'm just telling you, last year, he said, well, if a team drafts Bronny, he was willing to go to that team for a minimum contract. And when you opt out of a contract, you are no longer he could have signed anywhere. He went back to the Lakers. So to me, he was a free agent. Okay, so we got that under wraps. So your Philadelphia 76ers get Paul George as what they're calling Big Three. I think Big Three is kind of out the window right now. That really doesn't exist since speaking of LeBron, the Miami days, we saw with the Phoenix Suns that really doesn't work anymore. Paul George was very important for them to get to be relevant, Captain James. I still don't think that they're good as the Celtics. I still think they're a step under the Knicks. I think if Giannis is healthy, that's close. And the Indiana Pacers, they took the Celtics to play them in the Eastern Conference Finals. I still don't think Philadelphia is a top 3 team there.
Got to trust the process, right, James?
That's right.
By the way, when do we stop saying that? Seriously? Trust the process. Trust the process.
Well, Captain Keith Angle says that all the time. That's why I brought him in.
Which is the segue I was putting him up for, because we heard that mind meld going.
Yes.
I never even heard that word before.
I thought you told me you said that to all the employees that work underneath you as they're trying to get the best contracts. Just trust the process. No, I misread what you were saying. I guess.
That was that, and don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out, I guess. But
very, very good, Keith. I want to get your thoughts. We got Captain Jack at It's been a long time since we've seen him on one of our shows.
I see that. Hello, Captain Jack. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. By the way, for those that don't know, that don't see me, I am in my kitchen nook because I am trying to redo my regular studio, and I found out that my soundboard is AFU, so I didn't have the microphones ready and things like that. So I wanted to show people that I actually live in a nice house,
right,
with the Filipina, but accoutrement, instead of the great Raider house that I have. Like I'm pointing, it's right over there. It's a menagerie, a Hall of Fame of Raider stuff. But for you, hey, I wanted to show you I have a good side too. You know what I'm talking about?
Thank you. And we all, not just me, but everybody appreciates that, Captain. Keith, so we're talking about Bronny James getting his guaranteed contract. I think
I'll be right back.
1 of 3. Okay, Captain. 1 of 3 NBA people in history that have been second round draft choices that got a guaranteed contract. And LeBron, who said last year that if a team signed him, he would play for them at league minimum. And as far as I know, LeBron was a free agent after he opted out. He signs back with the Lakers, and of course, it's not for league minimum.
That's shocking. That's shocking, right? I mean, look at that. I'm not sure what to make of this situation. I want to give Bronny the benefit of the doubt because I really don't think we know what kind of player Bronny is, good or bad. I mean, he could turn out to be a great player, but again, this is more LeBron manipulating things to bend to his will, and I just don't think it's a good look. I think JJ Redick's in a horrible position as a rookie head coach, as probably any head coach would be. It's going to be an interesting year if you're a Laker fan. I've got a real big Laker fan that follows my show, and he thinks this is the end of the franchise. Basically, I don't know if I'm right to say that, but it's a tough situation.
It is, and God bless JJ Redick saying that Bronny earned that, we didn't give it to him. That was, I don't know.
Yeah. Look, again, I want to give Bronny the benefit of the doubt, but we don't know what he is yet. So,
yes. And according to what Captain Jack with his Dallas,
is that
Nowitzki shirt that fits him just as well as it did fit Kurt too, I might add. Captain Jack is.
I think I got a slightly bigger belly.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Yes. So, and. Keith, I do feel for the guy. I know this is a marquee position to coach a team historically great like the Lakers, but man, I think he's going to be in over his head. And they also said Bronny would play this year. He would actually get minutes to play during the season. And of course, we know why that is too. And that's the shame. Because maybe he can be a good player, but I don't think he'll be a great player. Who knows? Maybe he's serviceable. Maybe he could be a guy coming off the bench. I don't know. But all this is going to be juiced up because LeBron is there. And maybe I feel a little bad for the kid too.
I do. I don't think any of this is fair to Bronny, to be honest with you. I talked about this before. If LeBron was a really good dad, he'd say, stay in school another year and get some seasoning and then come out. He's just trying to manipulate. This is for him. Not for his son. This is for him. And there's a lot of pressure on this kid that doesn't need to be there. There'd be enough on him coming into this league whenever he came in, being LeBron's son. And now it's quadrupled or more because of all of this. So
Mac, that tells me this is why LeBron has probably got 1 or 2 more years left. Because if he rushed to get his son in now, that's telling me like, okay, he wants to play with him this year. They're talking about letting him play this year. So he's probably got maybe 1 at 2 at the most. That's why instead of taking 3 years, he took 2 years.
You're
right.
Yeah, you're probably right. Some other big signings. We talked about Klay Thompson. We talked about Paul George. You got Donovan Mitchell, the 3-year max with Cleveland. I don't think that really matters. He's a great player. They just don't have the team around to support him. They'll go to the playoffs again. They're a good team, but I don't think they're a championship team unless something drastic happens. You got I know Keith is a little upset that we got Hartenstein went to the Thunder. The Knicks are looking for a new center, but they'll pick that up. A decent center you can get. Hartenstein did look really good last year when he played with the Knicks, but he needed to get a little bit more pay, he thought. So he goes to a real good team, So, maybe he ends up going somewhere there. Go ahead, Captain.
What happened to that old center that the Knicks had? Some twiggy guy from Europe. I can't remember his name. Oh, that's right. He plays for the Celtics. Got a ring.
Oh, what happened? He's ineligible to play. I don't think he could play anymore. Maybe he could. I don't know. Hey, who knows? Maybe he could get out there, suit up.
It doesn't matter. He got the ring, man. He's got 1 more ring than J-Lo's ex-husbands or whatever. So whatever. And she's got a lot by herself. So,
another.
It's very.
Another interesting story of the things you just ran down. Klay Thompson signing with the Mavericks, who captain's got their jersey on, obviously. Another tie to the Celtics. His dad, who played with the Lakers, and won 2 titles with the Lakers, is an executive there, and he's very upset at his son for not signing with the Lakers. So that's the story.
Yeah, we
covered
about
that. You're late. You're late to the show, man. I'm on time. What the hell? Okay.
I don't have a schedule. You pay more than I am, so that's the rub
So-
there, Captain Jack.
The Celtics historically, they're the most expensive team ever after signing Tatum, Derek White. They still got the best team in the East. I mean, unless the Knicks can pull off a way to get that Utah Jazz star, but I mean, it is what it is. Right now, the Celtics probably have enough money to run this for a couple of years. Maybe they get another championship. Maybe they don't. I don't know. But they're definitely all in. So that's that. Tobias Harris goes to Detroit. I know the Philadelphia 76ers fans did not like the way he played this year because of his contract. It still might hurt you, Captain, a little bit. He's still a pretty good basketball player.
Oh, is that to me?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm up in my old age. I got too much hair on my face. It like clouded my ear hair too. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Again, the Sixers have had bits and pieces of players, and they let go of them at the wrong time. I mean, you could probably make an all-star team of the players that used to play for the Sixers that are no longer playing for the Sixers. And it's one of those things that's like, man, wouldn't it have been great if we would have had this guy? And, Harris was a decent guy who came in. You had the quote unquote, again, the process, which didn't get fulfilled because they got rid of the players as well. It's unfortunate. Like I said, I watched the Sixers when they were literally the worst team ever. When Gene Shue was the coach of the Sixers in 72, when their best player was Tom Van Arsdale. I mean, look it up, okay? Steve Mix and Tom Van Arsdale, and they were what? I think they were like Mr. E. What was 82 minus 7? Because that's whatever their losses were. I think they had like 7 wins all year.
I wanted to say 5, but it was single digits for sure, whatever it was. So it was
they were horrible. Yeah. Thank God the Flyers were good that year because that was the only thing that was keeping the Spectrum alive. But no, they've had their bits and pieces, and they had AI, the real AI, not the guy that played out in the West afterwards. Okay, they had the Answer AI there for years and years, and that was like the second come. Obviously, they had Dr. J and Tony and Moses and Caldwell. That was the team. But again, it took them about another 20, 25 years just to get up to that point where they were able to be a standout stalwart of a team in the East. And they're this close. They're always this close. But they need to get 1 or 2 guys back onto that team in order to them to even be relevant in these. Like I said, you got the Knicks, who, which I don't know why the Knicks weren't there in the finals. And, I'm not a big Knicks fan either. Maybe you need to get, Reed back, playing with Phil Jackson just to make that extra guy that the Knicks needed this year. But the Pacers were the team to bounce them, pun intended. And it needs to be another team other than Indiana or New York, and if Philadelphia can get their stuff together. I'm sorry, you guys are up in the Northeast a little bit more than I am because, again, I'm down south, which is, anything down south below. Florida's a northern state that's just separated by, a bunch of southern states because all of the New Yorkers and the guys in, Chicago and Massachusetts, they're all down here. They just don't tell everybody.
Isn't there a saying that the further south you go, the more further north you are?
Pretty much. But it stops in Orlando because then when you get to Miami, that's a whole different country.
Right.
Yeah, it is. Now you're talking Cuba. So let's talk a little baseball. Not a lot. The new top 10 power rankings came out. Biggest surprise, well, maybe not a surprise. The biggest team pushed up was number 2 was the Cleveland Indians, who are having a very good year. Now, they're not playing in the American League East. I mean,
which team? Cleveland? What was that team name?
The Indians.
Team name?
You said it right. The Indians.
That,
Said it right.
I will never stop calling certain teams certain names, Captain. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
care.
I'm sorry. I wasn't in on the memo on that. I apologize. I was just bragging you because, because I still call them the San Diego Chargers, but that's beside the point. So
This isn't a politically correct show like yours, there, Captain Jack.
Yes,
you know better. You know better.
So the Cleveland Indians are in the top two. The Phillies are number one, of course. The Dodgers and the Yankees 4 and 3 and 4, and of course maybe the biggest surprise is the Padres, as they're won I think last 9 out of 10 games, get into the top 10, and this may be when they make their little run. I don't know if they catch the Dodgers, probably not. But baseball, Keith, Jack, and James, is all about getting the playoffs now. Whether you win the division or not anymore really doesn't matter, except for maybe personal pride.
Yeah, 10 wild cards. I mean, it's easy to get in when there's 10 wild cards or whatever number we have now. It's, the regular season has been diminished so much that, we look at teams that are 5-6 games under 500 and they're well within reach of a wild card right now. And is it good for that city? Sure. But is it good for the game? I don't know. You talk about the Padres. They just lost their last 2. I've talked for 2 years on the MLB update when I do it, that it seems like for 3 years now, the Padres are either 3 games over or 3 games under 500. Every time I look, they're schizophrenic and they never seem to get anything really going with that team. With a lot of money have been spent there as well.
And quite a bit of talent, Keith, and quite a bit of talent too, really.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, the chemistry just is no good there. So I'm gonna make a statement. I want to get all your responses to this. To me, performance-based, Shohei Ohtani is the most overpaid, overrated baseball player in the MLB right now. How's that?
On the nose, baby. On the nose. Yeah.
Again, as far as money goes, I don't. Guys are worth whatever people are willing to pay him, so I don't really have a problem with the money he makes. Does he earn it? That's a different story. He's the one. If he never pitches again, and then this contract is based on him being a two-way player, and if he never pitches again, he's certainly not worth $70 million a year. I mean, that's without a doubt. It hasn't seemed to hurt this team yet, but if he doesn't pitch, this contract will become an albatross for the Dodgers for sure.
And you know something else, right? I mean, you could compare him to Big Papi right now to me. All he is a DH. They're scared to play him in the field because they don't want him to get hurt. Of course, he's not going to participate in the home run derby. They don't want him to get hurt. And if there's a chance by him pitching that he gets hurt and he's off the field, they're not going to pitch him either. So I think those days of comparing him to Babe Ruth, James, are all over.
Who did that?
Well, I think he should definitely go back to being a two-way player if he pitches. Like you said, if you're paying him that money to do these things. Like you said, didn't he have a Tommy John surgery?
Yeah, they knew he wasn't going to pitch this year.
Say that again?
They knew he wouldn't pitch this year. He had Tommy John surgery just last summer, so it was a given he wouldn't pitch this year.
Right. So is he likely to pitch next year?
That's their plan. That's their plan. Right. Yeah. That's their plan. Right.
So then, like you said, you're worth what somebody's willing to pay for you. So he's okay, man. I think you might be right on something that he might be overrated for the money. For the money.
Right. And Captain Jack, a DH on that team, the Dodgers are packed. With or without Ohtani, they'd be in first place right now. That's what I mean by performance. I think Ohtani's a great hitter, no doubt about that. I'll give him that. He's got a lot of power, but so did Big Papi, and so did a lot of other players in history. And to me, I know he's popular in Japan, and there might be selling more shirts and all that good stuff. Suzuki's a better player. Suzuki's a better player than he is, right?
Yeah. But I tell you what, if you want to go to players that aren't worth their spit, you can stay in the same city, go to the other side of town, and say, what has Mike Trout and Rincon done for the Angels with all the money that they've spent on those two guys? Okay? At least Ohtani plays. Like I said, I'd love to see Mike Trout play. I saw the Angels twice this year on my again, the excursion that I went on for, the 2-month road trip. Saw him actually, I think they played the Astros both times. It was at the Big A. Actually, I don't think it's called the Big A anymore. It's a big pain in my A, but that's different. I saw him in the Big A, and then I saw him in Houston on the way back, and they split the series. I know the Angels won it out in LA, and the Houston won in LA, and the whatever the visiting team won. Okay, let me get that straight. Whatever the thing is there. But I'm like, say, wouldn't it be nice to have seen Mike Trout play? Even Rincon, who is a perennial all-star, goes to that team, and he even made an announcement, something about, well, I don't know if I can, want to rush back from this, rehab, because dude, you are so full of regret. He ain't doing anything to rush back. He's getting paid, to sip Mai Tais and look at chicks on the beach out in L.A., right?
You're talking about Anthony Rendon?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I Rincon, Rendon. I had to. It was a Latino with a name that begins with R, and they play for the Angels. Okay, I got that part right.
He also said he doesn't even like his job. He doesn't even like baseball. I mean, don't compare him to Mike Trout. Mike Trout's gotten hurt and wants to be on the field. Please.
Yeah, look at the contract though, shipmate. The contract.
I get it. But he wants to play. Rendon doesn't even want to play the game. He says, I don't even like it. I'm here for the money. He said that this spring. I don't want that guy on my team. I don't want to pay him.
I don't want him either, but that was stupid. No. I don't know who the Angels GM. I lost track of the Angels GM since Buzzy Bavasi left them. I know I'm dating myself. Look it up, people. There was actually a guy named Buzzy Bavasi who was the general manager for the Angels in the 70s. I pretty believe. Am I right? Okay, again, old guy knowledge.
Padres. Might have been with the Angels at one point. Padres where I know him. Dodgers and the Padres. That's where I know him from. I don't know. He could have been with the Angels as well.
Again, sir, I apologize if I was incorrect.
You don't need to apologize to me.
I just threw a name out there just to school people. And James is like, who is this old dude, man?
You mentioned AI earlier. He thought you meant artificial intelligence. That's what he was looking at.
So let's get James back in here because he's really quiet right now. So
he's mesmerized. I got his tongue or whatever. Come on, James. I'm cool.
If you are Pete Alonso of the Mets, and you have Pete Alonso, who he's going to drive in runs. He's a good first baseman. He's not great, but he's a good first baseman. He's got power. He's got RBIs. In fact, I think the other night he hit a 2-run home run. What do you do? I mean, the Mets are probably not going to make the playoffs, and if they do, it's a wild card. They'll be knocked out, I think, right away. You have a chance at trading Alonso maybe with somebody else to get some resources. Me personally, James, I would keep him. I think he's the face of the franchise. I think that's important. But, the owner may want to make a move, save some money because he's going to be worth, he's going to free agency. We don't know. And if they're going to try and sign him back, it's going to be a lot of money. Do they trade the polar bear before the season's out?
How many years left in his contract?
He's a free agent next year.
This is it.
Oh, right. So I mean, if you're looking at they're 42 and 41, just slightly above 500, and why not? Why not trade him and get some assets? And the last part of his contract to try to rebuild. I mean, this is a team. Obviously, they're not in contention at all. I mean, be good for next season or some for the long haul. This is how I would let it go.
Well, you're popping a little bit. I don't know. We do go through this a little bit where you pop on your mic. If you want to go out real quick and come back, and last time you did it worked really well, and we'll bring you right back in as soon as you pop back in, James.
Sure.
Okay.
When it comes to Alonso, the Mets are silly if they don't trade him. He's a Scott Boras client, and all of Scott Boras' clients go full to free agency. He's going to negotiate with other teams. If they want him, they can trade him and still negotiate with him, which are going to have to do whether they trade him or not in free agency, because Bortles takes everybody and gets other offers, and that's what's going to happen. So you should trade him and get what you can.
Yeah, if I were the Mets, because they're stupid on contracts anyway. And granted, by the way, Pete Alonso is the only Met that I like because he's from the Tampa area. Yeah. He's a good local kid. He plays for that putrid team on the other side of New York. I keep people up. There's two teams in a bunch of different places, but he plays for the Mets. He's an asset. The Mets GM and management, they went all in. What was it, last year when they had all of these guys that they signed, and they had a putrid year last year, and then they got rid of most of the guys by the end of the year. What was it, the guy with one gray eye and one green eye, Scherzer? They got rid of him. They got rid of all of their assets because the guy said, "Well, I guess we kind of effed up by signing all these guys." Actually, I'm doing it in a Southern accent. I haven't done that accent yet today. And it's like, yeah, we kind of effed up doing it like that. And by the way, I'm the only Jewish guy I know that talks like this up here in New York. You know what I'm saying?
I thought that was a Queens accent when you started.
I thought it was Southern Queens. I was shooting for Southern Queens there. Yeah, listen. I mean, what Keith said makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, they're going to have to negotiate anyway. Get something if you can, because the team that gets them is going to have to be a team in contention. There's not every team's going to want it, so right. The team's going to need a first baseman to do that. So let's push on to football. We got Captain Jack in here, the voice of the Oakland Raiders, and I'm going to call them the Oakland Raiders because
I'll accept. Now I know what you're doing there. That's
lost. Your Raider fans should get ticked off. Say enough with this Vegas nonsense. We're not going no more, because I think that's the only ones that they really have drawn over there. But I understand you love your team, and I do respect the history of the Raiders, as we've talked about before. The Raiders this year have, to me, with the addition of Wilkinson, one of the best defensive lines. If they can get everybody intact, signed, or whatever they got to do with them, I think the Raiders have an awesome defensive line this year. I think they're going to have a very good defense.
Yeah, you got Wilkins from out of Miami, who played well up at Clemson. We did have a Clemson defensive lineman that was taken in the same draft. It was Cleve Farrell at like number 4, if I'm not mistaken, or 7. He was just overdrafted, and that's not his fault, because that defensive line that Clemson had back then, 3 of those guys were first-round picks. It just so happened that we were needy, and we didn't see that the whole was better than the individuality. But we got Wilkins back, and again, he's a personality that meshes well with everybody. He's happy-go-lucky, but he kicks ass. You throw him on the other side of Max Crosby, and then you have Wilson coming back. That the kid's bulked up like humongously. Look up pictures of Wilson in training camp, and he makes Max Crosby look like a stick. And I'm not saying it to be mean. It's true. Look at what Wilson looks like compared to Max Crosby, and even the other guy that plays defensive tackle for him. He's just huge. By the way, I do know Max Crosby's mom. Great folks. They bring a lot to the Raiders. Max is the greatest thing to happen to them. Max Crosby is probably the only person that I know that I actually buy his jersey while he's on the team. And I really, really don't think he's going to be going anywhere, because I don't buy Raiders jerseys from current players, because that's the kiss of death, man. I buy them when they're on sale afterwards to go, but I won't buy it beforehand, right? But Max Crosby is that guy. And when you have people like Rich Eisen that said that he's going to be the defensive player of the year, that the Raiders are going to be the team that finally knocks the Chiefs off the mantle, he goes 2 years too late on that, but great. And I'd say this as an unbiased bias guy. I know that doesn't sound right, but an unbiased bias guy, the Raiders were the last team in football to beat the Chiefs, okay, on Christmas Day. And if they can continue to do that, continue to make that franchise what Pierce is trying to bring back the old Raiders. Anybody that is their head coach that rolls around in his sixth foe, and that's true, by the way, he does have a sixth foe, just like the boys Sid did in that song. That's another one, man. Anybody you rolling down the street in my sixth foe. That's Antonio Pierce, man. And he is bringing the old Raiders back to what they were, okay? He's got everything going for him. People want to play for him. You got people like Marvin Lewis and Tom Coughlin that are there, as well as those guys that they have on that staff. Rob Ryan stuck around, who's a great think piece for that franchise, and people want to play for him. By the way, I know that people are going to say, well, the Raiders suck because they don't know what they're going to do at quarterback. But what I tell you, okay, Minshew and AOC 12, because I won't say AOC because that's that skinny bitch in New York, but AOC 12, okay, one of those people are going to be the great quarterback to save that franchise. And it really doesn't matter because they're dynamic, they're great quarterbacks. Hell, Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
wait a second. Let me finish the point. Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl with a great defense. I'm not saying that the Raiders have that great of a defense yet, but they are building up to that. They are building with a team that can play defense and has just enough offense to go.
Well, first of all, I'm glad you said what you said about Max Crosby's mom, because I thought you were going somewhere else with that.
No, great lady.
So that's.
I don't know her like that. I know her husband too, man. That's just me.
But where I had to stop you was when you said they had a great quarterback in Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew is not a great quarterback. He's a
I don't think if I said the word great, then that was the wrong G. He's very good. A very good quarterback. No, wait a second. Gardner Minshew almost brought the Colts to the playoffs last year, and they didn't have anything there. And with the Raiders, he's got a dynamic power where you got two tight ends in Bowers and Mayer. You got Adams. You got Jacoby Myers. Okay, you got a revamped offensive line. You got a team that's better offensively with the Vegas Raiders right now than he ever had in Indianapolis.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm honest about my Giants. I don't expect nothing out of my Giants this year. I'm telling you right now, I love your defense. Your offense is suspect, Captain. I'm being honest with you. Gardner Minshew is not a starting franchise quarterback. Neither is the kid yet. I don't know how good he'll be a year from now, 2 years from now. Maybe he turns into a very good quarterback. You're really hurting at that position right now. I think your defense will keep you in games. I don't think you're going to knock the Chiefs off the pedestal. No way. I think that
I think Rich Eisen needs to get himself popped for a piss test, but I still think that the Raiders are just enough better, okay, that they are going to be that team, not this year, but they are going to vie for a playoff spot this year. They are going to vie for a playoff spot this year, and I think next year that they will actually be the team to win the West with what they are doing this year as a blueprint, okay? Trust the process on this.
I'll give you that.
I really think it's going to happen.
Captain, I'll give you that. But this year, I think they'll be in a fight for a wild card this year. I think that's my opinion.
Yeah.
I think they got the defense to do it.
I think they can beat the Chiefs twice, though. I really do. I think they can beat the Chiefs twice.
They'd have to play at their best to beat the Chiefs for the division title this year, and they better hope Aiden O'Connell is a real thing, because we know who Gardner Minshew is, and he's not a Super Bowl caliber quarterback. He's just not. There's a reason he's been on teams.
You're talking bad about Uncle Rico playing quarterback for the Raiders? Come on, man. The guy can sling it.
Our mustache and all that's great, but he's been on 4 teams in 5 years for a reason. He's just not good enough.
Gardner had 1 or 2 games in him. He had 1 or 2 good games that he can fill in for somebody who's a true starter. And if starter's hurt, he can come in and light it up for about a game or 2, and everybody knows his number, and he fizzles out. I think the biggest thing for you guys, for the Raiders, is having a good running game, a very good defensive line, and you got 2 great tight ends now. You got 2 good tight ends that you got first rounders. You should be able to do something with that. I think that's the biggest key for surviving with a good run game, defense, and tight end. And of course, you got Devontae Adams still there.
Can you tell somebody that does the ratings for the running back rooms, because they have us as the number, and I'm like, okay, I know that it's a step down when you lose Josh Jacobs. I get it, but not 32. I saw what Zamir White did at Georgia, and the kid's just going to run wild. Okay,
He's a good player. Yeah. He's a good player for sure.
I agree. So I think the outlook to me, the Raiders got a bright future. Depending if they can develop that kid or they get some other quarterback that is, that quarterback that you guys need. Because, Captain, I don't think you win games just with a great quarterback either. Trust me. It takes the whole team to win it. It sure does.
Oh, no. Which is why I'm telling people stop ragging on the quarterback, because it's a team game. You score just enough points to win. And for those that don't remember, Aiden O'Connell, when he beat the Chiefs, because, again, it's a team win, Aiden O'Connell had completions in the first quarter, had 0 completions in the second, third, and fourth quarter on Christmas Day, but the Raiders won. Why? Because they had 2 turnovers. And I love Jack Johnson's pick 6, where he's just like he's showing the ball as he's going by Kermit Darlene, a.k.a. Patrick Mahomes, Kermit Darlene, if you're in my land, because he sounds like Kermit the Frog, and he looks like Darlene from the show that Roseanne used to be on, okay? And he's showing him the ball like, how you like those sticks, baby, But it's the defense with a goodwill to win, okay? And yes, if the Raiders would have beat the freaking Vikings last year, they would have been in the playoffs. That was the one that they lost 3-0, and I was there. I'm like, dude, all you needed was one play. And Jack Johnson actually had a pick 6 in that game that he dropped. It would have been 3 pick 6s in a row if he would have gotten that one against the Vikings. And let's say that they win. Let's say that Carlson didn't get the extra point, okay, which is rare because Carlson is very good on the extra point. The Raiders would have won 6-0. They would have been in the playoffs. It's unfortunate. And by the way, one more thing, Mac. I know because I don't get on here enough. Okay.
Hey, go ahead, Captain. I'll let you go.
I've seen Gardner Minshew beat the Raiders twice as a member of the Jacksonville Jaguars in the very last game in the Oakland Coliseum, which was I don't even want to get into that. It was a first down, by the way, officials. Watch it, okay? And then he came back and won the game. And then I saw him beat the Raiders last year in Indianapolis too. So it's nice that he's on our sideline, not beating us. I'm just saying.
He'll be a good bridge quarterback, or he'll, as James said, for a few games he plays really well, and then he doesn't, and that's why he moves around a lot. He's just not a so-called franchise quarterback. But again, Captain Jack, I think you guys are on the right track, and I think Pierce is going to be a decent coach for you guys. I really do. So we'll see what happens with the Raiders. A little bit of an underrated tight end to me, guys, and tell me what you think. Robert for the Philadelphia Eagles. We know about Travis Kelce, Kittle, all these tight ends that people talk about, and they really don't talk about Goddard, who is, not only a great receiver, a great blocker. He's the safety valve for Hurts, and he catches over 55 passes a year. He goes for, over 10 yards a catch. He's going over 500 yards a season. If he was on another team, if he was on a team that didn't have such a great running game, or maybe let's put it this way, didn't have such 2 great wide receivers, maybe they would talk about him a little bit more. What do you think, Keith?
Oh, I agree. He's one of the most underrated players in football in my mind. As far as importance to his team, he doesn't get enough credit, and tight ends often don't, unless they're named Gronk or Kelce, as you mentioned. And I think that's one of the reasons I like the Raiders a lot, is they do, as you guys mentioned, 2 great tight ends. Goddard blocks. He does a lot of dirty work that doesn't show up in the box score, right? And he makes some big catches as well. I think he's a big part of what makes that team go. And he replaced a really good tight end when he came in to Philadelphia as well. A very popular player, which yeah. So good player and underrated.
Goddard on a team years ago would have been an all-pro team player. because of, 500 yards maybe 20 years ago would have been Pro Bowl level.
Oh yeah.
I mean, now guys who get Pro Bowls and all pro are like 900,000 yard receivers. They're tight ends. They're prolific in the catching.
Hey, I like him because he got me on TV with Jamie, Philly sports guy, with the one touchdown that they scored in the playoffs. Of course, they pan to me, and I was wearing my gear with Jamie, which of course they pan to us. It was right after the Goddard touchdown in Tampa. God, I wanted the Eagles, and I said that correctly. I wanted the Eagles to win that game more than anything. And then I had to leave. Oh my goodness. Of course, Jamie is the AKA Philly sports guy, is the meme the next day on NFL.com. It's like unfortunate.
Yes. The Pittsburgh Steelers trying to get Ayuk, maybe be trying to get rid of Pickens. There's rumbles down there that they're not really happy with Pickens, and as we know, he's kind of got a big personality like a lot of the diva wide receivers. The last one they had was Antonio Brown. Pickens is definitely no Antonio Brown, and I don't know if they're going to put up with what he wants and what he's going to do. Rumbles are that they may be trying to get rid of him if they get Ayuk. So that's something to look for upcoming this year also. I don't normally talk about soccer. I mean, I don't follow soccer. I really don't like the sport that much, to be really honest. But the USA men's team gets knocked out in the first round. It never seems that the United States, would normally fields very good teams, has a lot of luck in soccer. And, I know the other teams play constantly in other countries. It doesn't stop our women's team from winning. And I don't know what it is with this, with the USA. It looks like they're going to fire their head coach. I don't know if anybody else has been following it, but to me, again, it's just another year where the USA soccer team comes up short again, and I'm not sure why. I don't know if any of you follow it or not, but it's just crazy to me.
Yeah, you'll have to go somewhere other than me, because it's not my field goal kicker kicking the ball. I don't know anything about guys kicking the ball. But you're right. The women are very successful, and the men are. There's something wrong somewhere. That's all I know about this problem, right? There's too much talent here. We play soccer everywhere, which I'm not a big fan of. But I've told my granddaughter, I always scold her. She's only going to be 2, but every time she kicks a ball, instead of picking up and throw it to me, I kind of yell at her a little bit.
Well, she made a good.
When all you need to know about soccer is what Bobby Boucher's mom said. Foosball is the devil.
Okay, that's true, and I agree with that. I do agree with that. Yes, I do agree with that 100%. It looks like the Olympic team that Luka is on lost its first game in the qualifying. I don't know how many games they get. Slavia. I can't say it.
Slovakia, maybe.
Thank
you. Is that
Slovenia. Slovenia. Let me see if I can find it here. I know I got it. Slovenia.
Oh, Slovenia. Okay.
Yes, thank you. National team. So they lost to
Croatia.
Thank you, Croatia, in their first game. So again, Luka is on the short end. I would imagine that they'll bounce back, if there is a bounce back. I'm not even sure who watches the Olympics anymore. Honestly,
I do.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That surprises me.
There's nothing else to do in July and August, when nothing else is going on. So you got to have that national pride, baby.
I used to watch it when it was on, early in the morning or late at night, and ABC covered it. And now it's like it's old news by the time you see it. And really, there's no more good boxing out there. The things I used to like watching are not what they were way back when. So I don't know why it's not
the same. I agree with you. It's not the same, but I still do give it a watch. And I don't watch as much as I would have, 25 years ago.
Yeah.
I tend to like basketball, swimming, and track.
Yeah, that's all good stuff. Yeah.
That's good stuff. So we're coming to the top of the hour. I want to thank Captain Jack for visiting us. Captain, I will invite you back in the future to get you back on here. We enjoy having you.
I want that as a drop because I want to see how long it takes for me to get back on here.
Okay, I will. And speaking of drops, folks, let's drop it right here. Folks, you have a great 4th of July. We'll see you soon.